Hi, I'm Rhonda Buss, and welcome to another episode of So Busted's Material Witness. I'm very excited. I'm still at the Chicago School of Leather Making, and I have someone to introduce you to that I think is extremely inspiring. His story is incredible. It did not start where, for most of us, when we started sewing, his story did not start like ours, but it's a wonderful and, like I said, extremely inspiring story. Johannes LaCour is with us. Fabulous name. So Johannes, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to start doing what you're doing. And I haven't told you yet what he's doing, but I'll show you in just a minute.
Okay, so right, I was born and raised in Chicago, south side of Chicago. I wound up, so I've been an entrepreneur pretty much my whole life, from shoveling snow and raking leaves as a youngster. And my entrepreneurial spirit wound up actually took a not so great turn at a certain point. And so I made some decisions that weren't necessarily the best. And I wound up serving some time for some of those decisions. I was sentenced to 10 years in federal prison, and so while I was there, I was fortunate enough to end up at a facility with a hobby craft program where I picked up leather crafts. And you know, initially it was just therapeutic. It was just something to pass the time, kind of get away from the madness, and kind of exercise my own creative spirit. But over time, I developed a passion for it, and I started designing handbags and other knickknacks and accessories from leather. So when I got out close to a decade later, which was about close to 2 years ago, I came to the Chicago School of Shoemaking because I wanted to learn how to use an industrial sewing machine. Everything I did on the inside in prison was handcrafted. We punched holes, we hand stitched everything. There wasn't a battery or a plug in sight, right? So I wanted to kind of make the process more efficient and learn how to use a sewing machine. So I came here, I took advantage of the studio time they had where I could come in and work independently. I was pretty much starting my life over. So I started volunteering towards credits for more classes, so I could take more classes. And eventually I took enough classes to where I learned a lot of, I'm always learning, but I learned a lot of the basics from a more professional trained standpoint than I had learned in prison. And I also learned finally how to use the industrial sewing machine. And I wound up taking enough classes to be able to instruct classes here. So now I'm an instructor.
And I'll interject that is how I met Johannes. I met him this summer when I took my sneaker workshop, and it was a lot of fun. We spent 2 days together, worked really hard. Yeah.
And you made some great shoes.
They were fun. It was a lot of fun, and something that I would not have typically have made, but a friend of mine wanted to come, and so she asked me if I would join her, and I said, okay, sure. And I came, and I just had a blast for 2 days. Yeah.
Right. No, we had a great time. And actually, that is where the rest of this part of my story comes to play. Once I started teaching that sneaker making class, really developed a passion for it. You know, initially I grew up on sneakers. I grew up a sneakerhead probably before the term was even coined. And so
I don't know if you got that or not, but the term was sneakerhead.
Right, sneakerhead. And we
Until he said that a few minutes ago, I had never heard that term before. So he's not wearing sneakers on his head.
I'm just
he just loves sneakers.
I love sneakers that much. And it's a culture now. Actually, it's a thing. Like the sneakerhead thing is really a thing. And so once I started teaching a sneaker making class, I started designing sneakers. I started imagining sneakers. I started drawing from the sneakers I had grown up on. And so one thing led to another, and Sarah McIntosh, the school owner and the school, offered to act as an incubator and help me launch a line. And so the line is Motif Sneakers, and we're officially launching early December.
And These are absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. So here is a sneaker that you will be showing, and he has been accepted into really a very prestigious art showing here in Chicago called One of a Kind. They don't take just anybody, so for this to just happen, so this has all happened in just the last 2 years, right?
Yeah,
So just in 2 years, going from being incarcerated to saying, I'm going to make something out of my life, to being accepted into the One of a Kind show and starting this fabulous line of sneakers is just very, very impressive. You have a lot to be proud of.
I do. It's a huge honor and even bigger blessing. You know, I mean, there are some key people who are a huge part of how it's been able to come about. Sarah and the school being very high on that list, and you know, my support system in terms of family.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's pretty big. It's still kind of surreal, and just sitting here with you being interviewed wasn't expected, obviously. And
No, he had no. When I came today, I was here to interview Sarah and talk about the Chicago School of Shoemaking and Leather Making, and Johannes, to my surprise and happy surprise, he was here, and he's working on all the shoes that he'll be showing at the One of a Kind show. And so Sarah brought me over to say hello, and I said, "You want to do an interview?"
And I said, "Yeah."
He's sure. So it is very exciting for me to be able to share your story and to share what you're doing, because it just goes to show when you have a passion for something, the sky is the limit, and whatever you can dream, you can make happen. So this is one of his shoes. You want to tell us a little bit about this shoe?
So this
I
is
love the toe. I love this little toe piece on it.
Thank you. This shoe, I call it the Redemption. It's a padded high top, and it was like very much an inspiration, very much inspired by the basketball sneakers that I grew up on. You know, like I grew up when Air Jordans first came out. I couldn't afford them, but I mean, I wanted them, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, eventually I was able to afford a pair. But like I say, that's a designer shoe. It's not made for performance.
Right.
But the design and the aesthetic draws from basketball shoes of old. This is a gold crocodile print with a bronze toe cap and tongue, gold foil on the logo, gold leather laces, gold eyelets. This was more of an eye catcher with a really nice soft gold lining. A shoe. It's one of the latest, more newer designs, so I'm, you know, pretty proud of it, pretty excited about it. And it was selected to be in the runway show at the One of a Kind show, so we're pretty happy about that too.
Oh, how exciting.
Yeah.
How exciting. So we'll just show you a few of the different shoes that he's designed. I love this one.
Now this is the Sorbet. It comes in a range of colors. We're offering 3, but it's customizable, as are all of the sneakers. This one especially, customers and clients really like to have fun with, because you have a very basic base pattern with a simple trim, but you can do a lot with it in terms of different colorways. Now this particular Sorbet was actually inspired by shoes I grew up on too. These are the Chicago Bulls colors.
Right, I was going to say, you know, this does remind me a little bit of the old Michael Jordan shoes.
Exactly, and it's pretty much, you're mostly getting that from the colorway. That red, black, and white. And
it's about the size that Michael Jordan would wear too. It's a
pretty big shoe.
Pretty big shoe.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's gonna take a big foot to fill it.
Yeah. And we'll show you another one. This one is just lovely. It could be men or women, either one.
Yeah, they're all unisex. And this is called the Safari. And it's in olive green and a white crocodile. This is actually a design that Sarah initiated, and has grown on me tremendously since. So I've had, that's the other big plus and perk about the situation I have with the school and the route with which I've come to this is that I have, like the expertise and eye of a seasoned true cobbler. I mean, as you know, Sarah's been making shoes for decades, so to have that kind of eye and craftsmanship, at my disposal has been a huge asset.
Now, here's another take on that same style with the same little.
So this is
the wings.
Yep. This was a safari. The only difference is that we put a little more hardware on here, and these are called speed laces that are holding the laces in as opposed to traditional eyelets.
And I love these. When I made my tennis shoes, I used these, and these are just fabulous for really lacing up your shoes.
And they get a shoe a little more substance.
A little more class, and it's how I felt about them. But my shoes are not gold. My little lace holders were in black, but still pretty. I thought very pretty.
It was still a great looking shoe.
Yeah, and you can see he has his logo motif on all of his shoes. Here's another pair in the same design, but just gives you an idea of the different leather combinations and how lovely they look. And these are, they sourced these leather shoelaces in order to have something really special for the shoes.
Wanted to really add that. We want the shoes to speak to luxury.
Yes. Oh, and they do very much so.
Art.
So here is a pair that I wanted to show because they are still, you can see, thread is hanging, so they're in the process of being made. But Johannes actually did all of the painting on the leather. I think these are just fabulous. And like I said, still in the process of being put together. And he has another shoe here too that he's working on. I think it's always fun to see when things are being put together, and it's just...
So this is a low top sorbet.
Yeah.
I had made so many high tops. Once again, I think that was based on my basketball shoe background. And I looked up, and everybody's asking me where are the low tops. So we designed a low top version of the sorbet.
Yeah.
Because it's becoming.
I love the color combination with the tan against the red with the white tongue. It's just really nice. And these are even. You have a stamp. I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, there you go.
Right, we have motif debossed on the leather. Yeah,
very, very nice. So these are really quite special. Do you know yet what your booth number will be at One of a Kind? 7117. But it will also be in the comments or in the description below, 7117. So you can, if you go to the One of a Kind show this year, you can find Johannes there with all of his wonderful shoes. And is there anything more about your life that you'd like to share?
Part of what I like to do with Motif is offer opportunities to people who are coming from the same situation I just came from. So I got to meet a lot of guys, like the guys who I learned initially how to work with leather were guys who were primarily self-taught, but these are guys who were doing 10, 15, 20 years, right?
Well, in a federal prison, they could even be there for life, right?
Yeah, many people are.
Right.
There are many people there for life. There are many people who aren't coming home, right? But I met so many talented guys behind those walls, and so the barriers to re-entry, to coming back to society, are pretty steep. And so I would like to do what I can to offer guys who are in my situation coming home with these skill sets, and even just the drive and the ambition, a chance to do what I'm doing. So the vision is that ultimately Motif will have a facility in Chicago where guys who are returning home from prison And you know, it's not strictly that, but I'm definitely primarily that's what I'm looking for. But designers in Chicago, foreign-bred artists in general, to keep this thing in Chicago and handmade and handcrafted for as long as possible. Even when we start getting machines, I'd like Chicagoans operating those machines here in Chicago. So that's part of how I like to kind of share the good fortune I've had with other guys who I know need it. That's kind of my way of doing something towards the cause of social justice.
You know, I just love Johan's story so much, and I think it's a wonderful example of a situation that was a mess that turned into a miracle. Really. Yeah. And such a message of hope as well, of that just because you are at a point where you think, where do I go from here? There's still somewhere to go. And he's taken the opportunities that have come to him and creating a beautiful life, and not only for himself, but has a dream to help others as well. And you know, that's how you change the world.
That's the plan.
One step, one person at a time. So Johan, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I need to go because I'm about ready to cry, so thank you so much. It's been wonderful to be able to bring you Johan's story, and until next time, keep dreaming, keep sewing. Thank you again.
Thank you.